Technician Shane is going to show us how to replace the logic board. Make sure you have tools on hand and have completed the first steps outlined on the page below. Remember that the logic board and the Touch ID board are paired. When replacing one, you must replace the other. There are 13 connections to the logic board. We'll remove the T3 screws on the cowlings and use the flat end of a black stick to disconnect the connectors, working clockwise around the edges of the board. Remove the touch bar touchpad cowling. The cowling will spring up because it is clipped to the side of the logic board. Use tweezers to lift it and pull it to the right to unhook it. Disconnect the platform connector. Remove the screws from the I/O board cowling. Lift the cowling, but don't remove it. Tilt it out of the way, but no more than 90 degrees. Lift the mylar cover from the microphone. Use a black stick to open the locking lever. Gently pull the tab to disconnect the flex cable. Remove the screws on the touch bar display cowling and disconnect the platform connector. Disconnect the JST connector on the left speaker by using a black stick to lift the cable up and out. Remove the keyboard cowling and disconnect the platform connector. Remove the trackpad cowling and disconnect the platform connector. Thread the trackpad flex cable through the slot in the battery cover. It's important that you don't remove the customer data migration tool cowling. Leave that cowling in place. Disconnect the JST connector on the speaker by using the black stick to lift the cable up and out. Lift the cowling on the I/O board no more than 90 degrees to disconnect the connector. Remove the cowling on the Touch ID. Disconnect the platform connector and the audio connector beneath it. Remove the EDP cowlings and disconnect the EDP cable. Remove the antenna grounding screw. Use the tweezers or the antenna tool to disconnect 3 antenna cables. Pinch the antenna tool arms, then pull the tool straight up to disconnect the antenna cable. Repeat this process for the other 2 wireless antenna cables. Next, we want to remove the screws that secure the logic board to the top case. Remove the 2 T8 screws on the corners of the heatsink. The left screw is a super screw. Remove the 6 T5 screws. Remove the 2 T3 screws in the center of the logic board. Carefully fold the fan gaskets off of the fans. Hold the logic board by the edges while you slowly and carefully tilt up the board. Lift the board incrementally and gently move cables aside to fully remove the board from the top case. When replacing the logic board, there are a few additional steps to transfer the heatsink and the EDP flex cable to the new board. Before installing the new logic board, you would also have to replace the Touch ID board since they're paired. Refer to the articles on this page for detailed instructions on those procedures. Now, let's reinstall the logic board. Inspect the top case to make sure that the screw standoffs that surround the fans are present. Holding the logic board by the edges, tilt it into the top case. Move cables into position as you slowly lower the board. Then, settle the logic board into the top case. Reinstall the 6 T5 screws and 2 T3 screws onto the logic board. Reinstall the 2 T8 screws onto the heatsink. Connect the EDP flex cable to the T-Con board. Install the 2 EDP flex cable cowlings and the 4 cowling screws. Install the antenna grounding screw and connect the antenna cables. Install the remaining components in order. Refer to the service guide for detailed instructions. That's it for logic board. For more information, check out the page below. See you next time. Touch ID board. What's up? I'm Carlos, and today we're going to watch Shane, our technician, demonstrate how to remove and replace the Touch ID board. Make sure you have all tools on hand and that you've completed the first steps outlined on the page below. The Touch ID board and the logic board are paired. When replacing one, you have to replace the other. The steps for the 13-inch model and the 15-inch model differ in two ways: location and flex cable shape. For the 13-inch model, the Touch ID board is located directly below the display hinge in the corner of the top case. For the 15-inch model, the Touch ID board is located a bit farther from the display hinge. Also, its flex cable is shorter and underneath Mylar tape. We'll focus on the 13-inch model for this video. Start with the display closed and the computer on an ESD mat. Remove the two T3 screws from the center of the flexure. Remove the four T3 screws from the corners of the flexure. Use tweezers to remove the flexure from the top case. Open the display and stand the computer on its side. With a hand on each side of the top case, support the Touch ID board as you thread the flex cable through the slot. Remove the Touch ID board from the keyboard side of the top case. Now let's show you how to replace the Touch ID board. If you're installing a replacement Touch ID board, peel the protective film off the glass surface. Holding the long tab on the Touch ID alignment tool, check that the folded flaps are 90 degrees to the square surface. This ensures that the flaps grip the Touch ID board correctly. While holding the long tab, slide the Touch ID board inside the Touch ID alignment tool as shown. Support the tool and the board as you thread the flex cable through the slot in the top case. Make sure that the three flaps of the tool insert into the Touch ID bay. Hold the Touch ID alignment tool in place. Place the flexure into the top case so that the four silver circles are visible and the keyed edge fits the Touch ID flex cable. On the other side of the top case, hold the flexure in place as you reinstall the four corner screws. Remove the alignment tool and place the computer flat on the table. Press the Touch ID to check for the correct click. If the button does not move at all or moves but doesn't click, refer to the service guide to replace the Touch ID shim. If the click is correct, place the computer on its edge and reattach the alignment tool. Gently hold the alignment tool in place and position the edge guide over the tab so it's flush with the edge of the top case. Gently hold the alignment tool in place, but don't press down. Use light downward pressure on the edge guide while reinstalling the two center screws in the middle of the flexure. Remove the alignment tool and the edge guide. Make sure that any disconnected cables are tucked into the top case. Then, place the computer flat on the table. Look directly over the Touch ID square. Visually verify that the spaces at each side appear equal, and the Touch ID aligns seamlessly with the touch bar. Insert the tab of the alignment tool in all four sides of the Touch ID platform. The side between the Touch ID and the touch bar has a tighter fit. The last steps include reinstalling the paired logic board. For the 13-inch model, follow the details in the service guide to connect the Touch ID flex cable and its adhesive. That's it for Touch ID. If you would like more information, check out